everyone. Thanks for joining me on Science and Perspective. I'm Dr. Anselino Davis, and this is another tutorial using Google Earth Pro, which is freely available online. And today we will be focusing on delineating spatial area extents, and we will focus on the Abaco Neem farm on Abaco. I am clicking on my scroll button and just moving this around a little bit so that I can line up my road to face vertically on my map view. And now I'm going to hold my right mouse button and I'm going to zoom out so that you can see this extent, this context of the Bahamas. And by holding the right mouse button when I zoom out, it keeps the Neem farm centered. And that's so that I don't struggle to find it again when I'm trying to zoom back in. All right. If you want to really get back to north facing up, you can just double click the N over here to make your maps have north facing vertically instead. But I kind of prefer for my roads to be parallel to the edges of the paper, and my map compass will show me where north is anyway. So in this map, what we are going to do is we will use the Abaco Neem farm as an example, and we're going to add a polygon. Click right there. Again, we get this editing window pops up, and our untitled polygon, we will name it Abaco Neem farm. I want my colors to have, I want to have a nice crisp white line going around the edge. So I already have that white. I'm going to say that's okay. But I want the edge line to be a little thicker than that one. And I'm going to move it up to 5, I think. Nice, good 5. And then my color inside the fill, I will make that actually a nice light green for a farm. I think a green farm is good. So now let's move this window to the side and we can put our first point. Of course, if you only have one point, you don't have any area. But from that first point, we can see that that point isn't exactly at the road, but it's on the edge of the farm. And we are going to actually use this road as one of the borders of the farm. So we will hold this point that we first made and we will drag it over here to the road about in line with this path that we see over here, that cleared area. And we can bring our first point down from there, and let's just use our keyboard and we'll use the down arrow to just slide this down. And because this road is pretty straight, we're going to slide it down to the entrance of the Neem farm, and we're going to click that there. So now as we zoom in and out, we can see that that line is pretty straight and brings us to there. Let's zoom back in and we can start making edges along here. Now, as soon as you make your third point, it's going to fill in between those points and it will start giving you an area. If you click inside your window and click measurements, it will show you what the perimeter of the area is that you have highlighted now. So those 3 lines make a perimeter of 0.65 miles, and the area inside says it's 0 square miles. And if we go to square meters, it actually shows you that. And we're going to actually put this in kilometers and meters for us to have some more scientific standard units for um, our areas. So now remember, if you click OK, that's going to save this to the Abaco Neem farm. And we're going to have to hit properties and open that up again so that we could continue editing. But when we make our next point, it's going to place that point after the previous one. I'm just going to quickly trace along this road on the south side of the Neem farm. Again, this doesn't illustrate the actual boundary of the Neem farm, but these are features that are easy for us to see and delineate in the image. So it'll give us a good estimate of where some of the boundaries of the Neem farm are. And if you are going to do something like this, you'd want to consult with the property owners, maybe get some documentation of what the property's shape is or where the boundary lines are. And as we go through this, for farmers, this is especially important because it allows you to see what area of your property is in production. It allows you to see what area of your property is dedicated to different types of produce or different uses. Maybe you're composting, or you are using some areas for cattle, and some areas for different fruit trees or other types of plants. And so the Abaco Neem farm actually has several different areas, but today we're just delineating some of the property that I have experience with. And now you can see here, I went up this road, but I actually want to include some of this area over here. So I can actually press backspace and it will delete the points one by one, going back along the path that I followed. So now I can bring it through here. And again, if you don't want to click, 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 you can just hold the left mouse button down and trace a line along the feature that you're following. And I'm going to follow this apparent forest edge over here up through the back behind their farmstead buildings. I'm using my keyboard keys to trace around the edges, and you can follow around like that. You can change the style on the fly. So this opacity inside is 100. I'm going to bring this down to 50 so I can see through the polygon that I'm making, and I can just continue mapping again. And I'm just loosely following this edge. I'm not exactly sure where the boundary is for the area that they are working. And I'm going to go around here. And you can see how quick this can actually be. I think Google Earth Pro is a really nice platform to work in just for the convenience. If you want to do some rapid mapping, or if you're doing something just more for fun or for really quick advocacy for environmental management, supporting some local group or partner, this is a really good app to do that in. You can see this edge up here is so straight, I might not even delineate that myself and just let it run that straight line across there. And it kind of gets a little wiggly here. So I'm going to put a break in it there and then start following these lines with my mouse. And that's just because I want to. I don't think that's going to change a lot over here. We can look at our measurements and see how how that is changing as we go along. And these areas in Abaco were hit really hard with some storms during like Hurricane Dorian, as well as really immense forest fires. So those are other things that you can also delineate with maps like this. So let's hit OK. And now we have this area has been delineated. You can see it says Abaco Neem from being able to see your business name from space. That's really cool. So shout out to Nick and Daphne for doing that. I think that's fun. Within the Abaco Neem farm, you can label other things. So let's say we want to label their solar panels or their Neem factory. So if you want to go and do a tour there, um, you can get some information. So hey, you want to learn how they make their Neem products? You can click that right there and say, hey, it says we're gonna put that little question mark there. Hit OK. Abaco Neem factory. I don't know if they call it a factory, but just call it a factory. Hit OK. And then they have a little farm store where you can have a little meal while you're on property. So let's put some food there. I know they don't sell burgers really, but um, yeah, let's maybe not burgers and fries. Let's maybe have some coffee. Just put some utensils there. I think that's fine. We put that right there on that building. Okay. All right. When you have a space that you invite guests to, you may also want to include where the restrooms are. So since they do invite guests here, I'm going to put the little restroom symbols over here as well. Let's save the restaurant place first. Neem Farm Kitchen. And let's add another place mark for the restrooms. Now for this one, I am not going to put a label on it. So it doesn't obscure it. And then I'm going to add another icon with a little lady there. So you have men and women's. And I'll hit OK. And maybe I will reduce the size of that icon because it's large. See, that's closer to the size of the male one. Just move that up a little bit. Cool. So now we have the restrooms labeled. And now the lady's smaller than the man. Well, we're gonna leave it like that for now. Okay. Again, you can click your scroll wheel button and you can tip your view. We're gonna leave it flat. ortho view. I'm going to rotate my north just so that I can see the edges be a little bit more, the edges of the road be more aligned with the edge of the page. Now I am going to save this as a map. But let's look at how big this property is right now. You can actually measure that and say, oh, the Abaco Neem farm is 0.4 square kilometers, that developed area. The perimeter is 2.87 kilometers. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to save this as a map. You can see your north arrow is just slightly off from vertical. You have your scale bar is automatically saved here. And now when I hit save image, I will get my Abaco Neem farm map. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of science and perspective and you find this tutorial useful. Please let me know if you would like me to make any other videos on how to do any of this geospatial analysis, rapid mapping, or if you would like support in your mapping initiatives for your community or your group. Have a great day.